Hello, 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 welcome, you're coming in, we have signal, hopefully you can hear me, please let me know if you can. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear, fingers crossed. So I can see people starting to come in, please do say hello in the comments. Oh, thank you, Pearl, lovely to see you again. Please do say hello, let me know where in the world you are. Whether you're a newbie or whether you're back again, because for some reason you've decided there's something to hear here, which is wonderful, because that's like my journey really, where I first came across this understanding of the three principles and I kind of thought, oh, there's something about what these people are saying that's quite clever. So hello Pearl, welcome, thank you for saying hello. We're going to give people a few minutes to come in. I'm based in the UK, which is, and I'm actually in my house today. I'm standing up today because I thought I'd bring a different, I might dance even. I normally sit down, but I've been sitting down too much, and I do have a magical desk that allows me to sit and stand throughout the day, and I sit too much. You know what they say about sitting, it's not so good for you. And I've got my cup of Yorkshire tea. I am in Yorkshire. Let me know what you're drinking, if you're drinking anything, if you've got a cup of tea or coffee on the go, or anything else, whatever, doesn't really matter. Might be just a glass of water. Could be a gin and tonic if it's later in the day for you, doesn't really matter, as long as you're happy and you're here. That was very Yorkshire actually, as long as you're happy and you're here. I'm not always so Yorkshire. So today we're going to talk about embracing the unknown. I love talking about the unknown. It's probably one of my favourite topics. Oh, I love talking about all of this, but I do like talking about the unknown. And we're also going to talk about stepping into the realm of possibilities. What a lovely title. I'm gonna have fun exploring that. So Pearl said hello. Anybody else want to say hello? Please do. Let me know you can hear me okay. And I'll let you know a little bit about me. So as I said, I am currently in my house in Yorkshire, in the north of England. I live in a city called Leeds. Well, I live on the outskirts of a city called Leeds. Actually, I don't live in the city. I live on the outskirts, but I don't always live here. So yesterday I was home actually. In the morning I was in the motorhome. By the afternoon, by the time I spoke to you, I was already home. I wasn't in the motorhome anymore. But sometimes I'm in my motorhome called Trevor. Trevor's gone for his habitation check today. That's where they check to make sure that the living space is safe. You know, they check that the gas isn't leaking and there's not too much damp and that kind of thing. So, fingers crossed that it's a bit like an MOT, but it's for like the inside of the vehicle to make sure it's safe. You don't have to have it actually. It's not a legal requirement, but it's a sensible thing to do, I think, when you're driving around in a vehicle that's got gas tanks and things like that. So to keep us safe. I will be drinking my tea because for some reason I have a little bit of the last few days we just had a little bit of a throat. So I can see more people starting to come in now. I'm going to get my statutory tissue ready because, I do cry sometimes on these sessions. So a little bit more about me. I've been a teacher on Insight Timer for a while now. I've kind of had 3 little patches where I've done it at various levels of intensity, this being probably the most. I've kind of thrown myself into Insight Timer now because I love it. And I love the connection I make with people here, which I feel like is different to other places where you might go live, perhaps on social media or wherever else. But it's mostly social media, isn't it? But I feel much more aligned with coming live on here. So that's why I'm here more now. So this week I'm doing five lives this week, alternating between mornings and evenings, but also one on lunchtime Friday. For some reason my calculator just opened up on my computer. That's adding an extra bit of excitement to the events, isn't it? So later on this week, we've got today's, and then we've got tomorrow at 3:50 p.m. End self-sabotage and uncover the innate potential for success. And on the 8th, which must be Thursday, 8:05 in the morning, accessing effortless flow and creative potential. And on Friday, the 9th, 12:45, the power of presence, revealing potential in the now. Friday's a very exciting day for me. I'm starting a college course, university course actually, doing another level of coach training, which I'm really interested in doing. It's exciting, learning something new. So we'll have just come straight off that when I come to the live. So that's what's happening the rest of this week. So I was a primary school head teacher many years. It feels like a long time ago now. It was actually just over 8 years ago that I had to leave my job, and I had to leave my job because of burnout. And when I say burnout, I do mean that I knackered my adrenal system really from being stressed. I didn't know I was stressed at all. If somebody had said to me the day before I burnt out, "You're stressed, you need to do something about it," or "Are you okay?" People ask me if I was okay all the time actually, and I kind of said, "I'm fine." But if you'd said to me, "Are you stressed?" the day before I burnt out, I would have said, "No, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me." And then I went into work one day and I looked at my computer and just couldn't do it, couldn't go on. And I spent a year not working. So I had a year of not being able to work really, not being well enough, not being healthy enough to work. And trying again and again to go back to work, but finding that was just too hard because I was so poorly. I then resigned a year later, a year after I'd walked out, and had no idea what I was going to do. But I got an email out of the blue, really, inviting me to take part in a hypnotherapy training course, which is what I did. I don't do hypnotherapy now, but that is what I did for a few years. I ran my own business. I didn't know I was going to run my own business even, because I just thought I was going to learn about hypnotherapy and that'd be interesting to do. It was something to do. And actually, by the end of the course, I realised I was going to start a business. So, complete accident, really. Lots of people talk about how they started their business, and it was, there was a big motivator, and it was all very, like deciding to do it. I don't feel like I decided at all. It just happened. And actually, I find now that's how the best things happen, really. Like the breadcrumbs, like you just do something and then the next thing happens and the next thing happens, and you don't feel like you're doing it. It's just sort of happening. And that's what my journey with business has been like. Apart from once I actually started my business, that wasn't what it was like at all. I didn't think I fitted the box of hustle, got to be motivated all the time, and I wasn't. I didn't think I was okay. Which is ridiculous when I think that I was struggling with adrenal burnout. I then had underactive thyroid, and who knows which came first there, chicken or egg, not sure. And then I was becoming menopausal too, perimenopausal, and thought I was supposed to be energised and motivated all the time. And I wasn't. So I beat myself up a lot and then tried to fix myself. Doing a lot of self-development, so I'd love to know from you in the comments. If a few more people have come in, please say hi in the comments, but let me know if you've been, I guess if you're here on Insight Timer, this amazing platform, you will have been on some kind of journey with self-development, with trying to fix yourself, with trying lots of tools and techniques, and with maybe doing a bit of therapy and poking around in the past and all of that. And that's really what I did for a good few years, until I was introduced to this understanding called the 3 principles, which is what I share with you. And I think what I saw through that was that, well, first of all, there was nothing wrong with me at all. I really do see that now. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with anybody, really. There's some psychology that we're believing, thoughts and feelings, behaviour. We believe that's us, and that sends us on a right merry dance. But that's not who we really are. So I came to see that through this understanding of the 3 principles, which is a description of how the mind works. The three principles are thought, consciousness, and universal mind or universal intelligence. You might call that the energy of life or God or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's that universal connectedness that we all are. And when I came across that understanding, it changed so much of my experience that I kind of, with the help of coronavirus, I dropped my hypnotherapy business. My hypnotherapy business went because it was in person, and it made sense at that point to not do hypnotherapy anymore. I'd just seen so much through my learnings in just a very short period of time, sort of between January and March, when of course we all went into the strange world of lockdown. I'd seen so much that I had to share the three principles. That's what I say. I couldn't not share it. I had to share it. I had to share this with people. And that's why I love Insight Timer, really, is because I get to share it with people who are already, like you lovely people, who are already curious. You're already on a journey. You're already looking. And so you're my ideal people. You're my ideal clients, really, is what I would say. But you're the ideal people for me to share this with. Because you're already looking. So I can see a few more people have come in. It's all very slow to get started this morning. There's people still sleeping. So if you've just come in, please say hello. Let me know where in the world you are, what brings you here today, and whether you're a newbie or, as we like to call them now in Claire's world, a repeat offender. whether you're new to listening to me, or whether you are. How did I encounter the three principles? What a beautiful... Again, accidentally. Yes, by chance. Yes, Pearl. So I have a friend called Peter, and he had done some coach training. He'd done some training with a guy called Michael Neal, and he'd learned about this inside-out understanding, the three principles. And all that happened was he put a post on Facebook saying, "Oh, I'd like some people to practice on, really. I'd like some people to try this out with some kind of practice clients." And I kind of went, "Oh yeah, me, I'll do that." And that's how it all started. And then I very quickly, the coaching gave me an inkling that there was something in what he was saying. I'm not really sure what he said in those sessions, but I started to just notice a difference. I started to get curious, and I said to him, what should I listen to? What should I, read? And I guided by him initially, but then just by, you know what it's like once you start to tell the internet that you're interested in something, you get more of the same, don't you? So I very quickly started to get notifications and things from people that, telling me about more Three Principles teachers. Same on Audible. Once I'd downloaded one book from one person, another book from them, and then all the other books started coming in, and the podcasts were the same. Once you've listened to one kind of podcast of this certain nature, then others of the same nature start to come in, don't they, and start to appear. So that's what happened. And what I noticed, Pearl, was that I had been meditating like every day for a very long time, probably about 4 years. I'd meditated a bit before that, but for this 4 years I'd meditated every day, at least sort of half an hour of meditation a day, maybe even twice a day sometimes. But definitely that morning meditation was my thing. And I started to notice that state of mind that we can become aware of when we're meditating, that seemed to be available to me like more of the time. That even when I was busy doing things in the world, that my mind was getting quieter and quieter. And that was super exciting to see. Because stuff was just falling away, which is amazing. So hello, Dawn from Michigan. You're a newbie. Welcome, Dawn. So if you are a newbie and you've not already done this, then please do hop over to my profile and give me a follow. Follow me. I don't know, I sound like a teenager. There's the reasons for doing that are simple. That if you're finding this interesting, you're thinking, oh, hang on, this is a bit different, don't know about 3 principles, would like to learn about that, and you'd like to do that with me, then Insight Timer just is such a wonderful place for it lets you know, it lets all of you know. If you follow me, you get to know what I'm doing. So if I upload a new track, and I do upload plenty of new tracks, I've got a couple of courses on here now. So first course I revealed was Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease. They're just 10-day courses. Each session is about 15 minutes, so they don't take long to go through. I do believe that once you start them, you don't have to wait for a new day to listen to, because I think it's Juliet who's a regular in this session. She likes to listen to them, quite quickly. So people do listen to them quite quickly. And the second course is Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Principles. So they're both available now on the platform. And if you follow me, you'll see each time. So that my kind of plan, I do have a plan now with this, which is quite cool actually, and not like me, but that is to each month have a new theme. And I think next month's theme is going to probably be around productivity, because I've had quite a lot of questions about productivity on the live, so I'm kind of going off what I'm seeing coming up. So procrastination, motivation, that kind of thing. And so then each month there'll be a course to go with the theme. So I'm just kind of bubbling the next course around that topic. And the lives will also be on the topic. So this month's topic is Revealing Your Potential, because I've really started to see that that's what I do. I am someone who helps people reveal their potential. So I'm calling myself a human potential catalyst now. So Michelle, so it might have evolving to stay with you, and I think I would say that I definitely experienced some benefits from meditation, but when I came across the 3 principles, I actually stopped meditating, and I realised I'm in a room full of meditators, which is fine, and sometimes I do still meditate purely for the joy of it, but the need for it has fallen away. And so actually there is more for me, this is just my personal thing, that for me there's more joy in it now that I don't have to do it. Before I actually thought I had to do it. I thought that I couldn't be okay if I didn't. And now I see that I don't have to do it, but sometimes I enjoy, listening to something, or I quite like guided meditation, that's generally my thing, or just sitting quietly for a while, although I'm a bit of a busy person, so I like to be doing, but to be realizing, I think, Michelle, that meditation is a state of mind that is available to us when we meditate, but can always also be available to us generally. And I would say that my levels of calm and that kind of thing are more like that state of meditation more of the time, which is why I guess people call me the Queen of Calm. So we should probably crack on with the subject, shouldn't we, really? As it is 20 minutes in. But I see that we've had a few more people come in. So please do say hello and welcome. And if you're new, let me know. Let me know what brought you here. And as I've already said, please do hop over and visit my profile, follow me. The right link is now, I don't know if you were here yesterday, you'd have heard me talk about the fact that I'd updated my link on the computer, but it hadn't updated on the app. I'm not sure why that happens. It's a bit of a glitch in the system, but fabulous Insight Timer support team have already sorted that out, because I emailed them after the session yesterday, and they have already fixed that for me. So now the link that is on my bio really has lots of stuff in that you can hop on and have a look at. There's lots of different ways to find out more about me. If you wanted to explore conversations with me, then you can do that on there too. There's all sorts. Hello, Kat, and welcome. Let me know where in the world you are. So today's topic, embracing the unknown and stepping into the realm of possibilities. So let's start with this. Let's start with the unknown, because it's not as complicated as you might think. Like, people talk about fear of the unknown, don't they? Oh, you're in the UK, Kat. Good morning. Welcome. I'm in Leeds. You're quite away. I've not been to Bristol for years, actually, but I do know quite a few people down there. Perhaps I should pay a visit. So the unknown has a bad rap. I feel like it needs some PR. Is anybody here a PR person? I do feel like the unknown as a concept has a really bad rap, where we talk about it in a really bad way, don't we? Like fear of the unknown. There's this sense of trepidation. There's this sense of the unknown is bad. It's like a big black hole of fear and horribleness. Horribleness is a new word that Claire's invented today. But anyway, we're going with it. It's just got a really bad, the concept of it is, yes, they do both, Pearl. I would say unknown and uncertainty, they both have a bad rap. So here's what really happens. There is no fear of the unknown. How could you be afraid of something that isn't there? Because for me, thinking, it's like that to me is the other thing. It's the realm of possibilities. It's the potential for, it's space, isn't it? The unknown. But when people say they're afraid of the unknown, or they can't embrace the unknown, or they're afraid of uncertainty, what they really mean is they're afraid of what they've. If you think about those things as being a space, because if something's uncertain, then it's just, there isn't anything there, is there? There isn't anything there. If something's unknown, there isn't anything there. It's unknown. It is the not known. It is the uncertain. It is the not certain. All of life is that. Beyond this second now. And beyond this second now. And I could just do that for the rest of the life. Beyond this second now, there is no such thing. There is nothing. Now, when we consider the future, and we think about nothing, we don't ever think nothing, do we? We don't ever go, oh, there's a big, lovely space, juicy space full of potential. We make up stuff and we put it in that space. We make things up and we put them in that space. And then we call that the unknown. So if we're worrying about the future and we're saying, I'm afraid of the unknown, or I'm afraid of uncertainty, we're not saying there isn't a thing. What we're really afraid of is what we've made up about the future, what our worrying thoughts are saying might be a problem, what we think might happen in the future, all of that stuff. It is not the unknown. There isn't anything there. It's the fear of the made up known, or what we think we know to be there, which is made up. Do you call that the made up known? What we think we know, what we think is true. None of that is real. It's just a space. And it's easily done, making up the stuff about the future and then saying we're afraid of it. I mean, it's like, I'm not laughing at anybody, but I'm laughing at that phrase. It's like, let's make up something in the future and then be afraid of it. Well, why just not make it up in the first place? Now that's easier said than done, isn't it? Because I used to be such a worrier. I still have some little things that, like, we have a motorhome, and I have this thing about it being broken into or stolen. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's there. But we'll go out for a long walk or something, and we'll come back, and I'll be like, when I see the van all kind of sealed up and looking fine, I go, I feel this, like, I'm not thinking about the whole walk, but as we're approaching, as we're returning, my mind starts going, oh, what's happened? Oh, it's okay. Is it? And then there's another bit of my mind going, stop doing that. Why are you doing that to yourself? It's like my mind arguing with itself about what I've made up and then what I shouldn't be thinking. It's quite comical, actually. It's like listening. If you were in there, you'd think, oh my God, this woman's insane. It's not, it's just what the mind does. It's what my mind does anyway. Excuse me. And I think that's all we really need. Like, yesterday's session was all about awareness, and that's all we really need is some awareness that that's what's going on. Some awareness that we have a tendency, that our mind, and all our minds are different in terms of, they're not different in terms of how they work, and there are some habitual things that most people's minds do at some point, but it's noticing our flavour of that. Particularly when you're upset. Like, there's a lovely question, and I'm going to just pick up my phone because it's on my phone. I wrote it down, and I keep forgetting it. There's a lovely question that I heard somebody say. It's like, or a sentence that you can kind of finish for yourself. When my mind is really upset, or when your mind is really upset, what does it talk about? And when we consider something like the unknown, and we start to create something to fill that space, because the mind likes to know what's going to happen, doesn't really like not knowing. So rather than just leaving the not knowing where it is, the mind starts filling in the gaps. It starts trying to plug in something. And some of us can become more aware that that's what our mind does when it's upset. So if like me, like I was, a total control freak, and I think how that came out for me sometimes was this, well, if I try and, work out all the different scenario-ize, I suppose, so I'm trying to create all the different scenarios of what could go wrong in XYZ situation, then I will somehow feel more in control. So what my mind did when I was upset or when I was feeling not okay, it tended to fill the space of the unknown with worrying thoughts about the future, and then my plan of action to control them. It's the plan of action to control all of that is really what I was wanting, to control, to try and control the outcome of something I made up anyway in the first place, which is so funny, isn't it, really? So we as human beings have these tendencies, and one of the tendencies we have, and when I say we, I probably mean most people, is, me too, is to make up something to fill the unknown, to plug in the gaps, to try and make it look like it's solid, and that we can then go about making sure that the thing that we've imagined doesn't happen. Ironically, it was never going to happen in the first place because we've made it up, but we do like to work out what the scenarios might be and try to prepare ourselves for the worst. I know there's a saying, I think it's quite a northern saying, is, and I've heard this from lots of my clients over the years, saying, I kind of, have my thinking, it tends to be around the worst case scenario, and everything else is a bonus, if I Yeah, Pearl, definitely to have the impression of being ready and more protected. And for me, I mean, more protected, for me, that felt like control. It felt like being more in control. If I kind of knew everything that might happen, or I made up all these things I thought might happen, all made up, of course, that I would then somehow be prepared. Yeah, being prepared, being protected, being safe. Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all of it. All of this stuff that we're doing around things like, making up an unknown future is all protective. It's all innocent. It's what we do because as human beings we want to feel safe and protected. So when, like, I'm it's a smile now, because when we say, when I'm saying embracing the unknown, yeah, I mean, there's nothing there to embrace, is there? But we can move into a place of acceptance when we realise what we're doing. We realise that we're filling the space. And how do you know you're doing that? Well, because you've got a clever system that's going to let you know. And the way it's going to let you know is by making you feel terrible. So, future thinking, which is what we're talking about when we're talking about the unknown, we're generally talking about future thinking, aren't we? Well, future scary thinking about scary things that might happen in the future was a clumsy sentence. Anyway, they are, they make you feel terrible. That we might call that anxiety or worry or whatever. It's anxious thinking, isn't it? When we're making up the future and making up what we might need to do to solve it. That's anxiety. That's anxious thinking, anxious feelings. And the anxious feeling is power to you, really, because it lets you know about your state of mind, about the story that you've bought into right now, about the imagined future that you're creating. It's letting you know that, which is just amazing, really, that we have a system that lets us know when our state of mind is not in a good place. So that can help us to fall into this place of embracing the unknown. Just seeing that when we're feeling uncomfortable, that's our system letting us know that we're just believing some lies at the moment. I mean, anything we're making up about the future has to be a lie. Because it can't be the truth, it's the future. We don't know the future. It has to be made up. But your system's literally it's trying to wake you up. Your system's just so clever. Like there's too much stuff out there in the world now telling us that people are broken and there's so much mental illness and what are we going to do, and it's such a mess. And no, it's just a misunderstood system. A system that just only ever wants to get us back to calm. That's all it's trying to do. And it's doing that by letting us know every time we're not calm, every time our thinking's gone awry. Now, eventually, it makes sense to stop. And those of you who are new, get a treat now because you get the ruler. That's bad. And, if I'm doing this and telling you all about my awful headache that won't go away, I've sniffed many bottles of lavender oil and got my little diffuser blowing, and I'm drinking loads of water and I'm avoiding caffeine and I'm watching what I eat and I'm going for lots of walks in the fresh air, and I still can't get rid of this headache. Just won't go away. I've tried everything. Well, you're going to tell me to stop hitting myself on the head with a ruler, because that's going to stop the headache. It's a miracle I don't actually have a headache on that side of the head, because I do that quite a lot. Bless your peace. You too. But But why we carry on? We don't realise, like, we know we wouldn't do that, would we? We're not daft. But we do that with our thinking because we don't realise. So when we start to feel, when we think about this concept called the unknown, but really we're filling it up with our made up ideas about what's going to come up in the future, and then we start to feel terrible, that when we think that's coming from the made up future, we then do more. So I remember right at the beginning of lockdown speaking to a business owner, lovely woman, who had a very in-person business, which clearly overnight was just, dead in the water, really. As it wasn't. When she got quieter, she found lots of ways to still do something along the lines of her business. But she had literally, like, if you think this is the present moment where my wrists are, like, she had created many, many, possible futures. And then in the present moment, so some of the futures were bad and some of them were good. And so in the present moment, she was trying to control all the variables that might create the scary future. And then she was trying to, increase more of these variables that would create a better future. And so she was just utterly overwhelmed with everything she thought she had to do to prevent these things and make these things happen. And she was just totally stirred up, totally, and very, very, very overwhelmed, and that, overthinking lots of things, which is what causes overwhelm. It's not caused by anything other than thinking. And when I worked with her, I did help her to start to just go, right, in the present moment, what's just the next step? We only ever need the next step. There are breadcrumbs being laid for us by the universe, by our own intuition, but that only works from the present moment. So we just have to take the next step. So our system is just like, it's just that next step, So hello, peace. Yes. Oh gosh, you did have a double whammy there, didn't you? The coffee shop. They really did struggle, bless them, didn't they? So many what ifs, definitely. But also what I noticed during that time was wonderful that people did, pivot became you're on mute was phrase number one of the year, and pivot, that was the other word that, if business owners really use that word like all the time, but actually when we're calm and when we're in the present moment, it's amazing what opens up to us in terms of what we can do, what the next step might be. Yes, peace, that's beautiful. I love that. I think lots of people did. Lots of people grew. They talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, but actually there is something called post-traumatic growth. And I think many of us had to really hunker down and just take the next step and keep going, keep moving forward, be resilient, which we all are, and as a result of that, it all worked out for lots of us. I actually really enjoyed it, to be fair. I really enjoyed it, despite I lost my business overnight, literally overnight. But actually that gave me space to begin the journey with this three principles understanding. So that was amazing. So we've got this system. It's always trying to guide us back to calm. It's always trying to guide us back to the present moment. And where the present moment is instantly available is in this awareness of where our mind has gone, in this awareness of our psychology, in this almost, I feel sometimes it feels like we're just taking like a little step backwards and noticing our thinking, becoming aware of the stories, becoming aware that, we're riled up right now. That's okay. That's a normal body reaction to this kind of thinking. And as we begin to become more of the observer of that thinking, there's no need to do anything about it. I really do. I find myself saying that a lot to my clients that I work with. There's nothing to do. You don't have to do anything. But as you become the awareness, as you become the observer of the thinking, what you do notice is that it falls away, because it's Eckhart Tolle who says the moment you notice you are not in the present moment, you will naturally fall into the present moment. And I was trying to explain this, articulate this to a client yesterday. It's just a change of perspective, really. Once you start to observe past and future thinking, well, the observation is in the present moment. It can only be because the thinking is happening now. It's about the past and the future, but it's happening now. It's hello, I've got thinking about the past or the future. The future probably more so if we're talking about fear of the unknown. I've got thinking about the future, and now really who I am, this mind-body system, is observing that thinking. And that means that we are then in the present moment, observing, thinking about the future. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And so there is a natural, as soon as we become the awareness, become the observer, there is just a natural falling back into the present moment. And that's where we have access to every possibility. And I'm seeing this more and more, that once we are not in here creating uncomfortable feelings, once we step back into the present moment, that's the place where possibilities exist. Infinite possibilities that we can step into. And when I use the word step, I mean a step. Just a step. Like, we don't need the whole story of the future. We don't need to go way ahead of ourselves, because that feels terrible. But we do have this ability to step into possibility. And really, like, I think often we think, when I say something like the realm of possibilities, it probably sounds like it's it's going to be some earth-shattering, mind-blowing thing that hits us, like a beam of light from heaven, and we suddenly know the answer to everything. It won't be that. It will just be something you can do right now. It will just be the next step. It will just be, what in the present moment is my next action? Oh, peace. Buying your first home. That is so exciting. Congratulations. Yeah, I think, it's interesting people. People are interesting, aren't they? And I think if you're in these kinds of conversations, you will notice that there are some people who you just don't align with anymore. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them or anything wrong with you. It just can be time, One of my teachers, Claire Diamond, she says that relationships are, we make such a story about them and how, get very emotional about, but actually some relationships are done, aren't they? No, it doesn't have to be animosity. It doesn't have to be horrible. It can just be, it's a bit like, I'm not saying human beings are like cars, but, it's a bit like you've had a car for a while, it's starting to need to go to the garage too often and it's costing a lot of money, and you're just like, actually, I still love this car, it was my first car, or, I really like it, but it's time for me to let go of it. It's a bit like you with buying your first home. You'll be letting go of the home that you're living in because it's no longer fit for purpose. It's like, for example, if you're starting out in a marriage or whatever, and you've got no children, so you're living in a little 1-bedroom flat and it's fine, and then you start to have children, and you can still love your flat, but it's not fit for purpose anymore. You don't have to hate the flat. You don't have to feel angry with the flat. You don't have to fall out with the flat. But you can kind of go, oh yeah, actually what we need now is a nice little house with a little garden and a drive, because we're at a different stage of our life. that is just how it is with relationships. We can move through them and not need to just fall out with them and be terrible. It doesn't have to be awful. It can just be time for a change. So I hope that's helpful piece. So I've got a few people I haven't said hello to yet. So I'm going to break for a moment and just say hello and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me on Insight Timer. If you're new, I know I've got a few new people today and a few people who may be second timers. Thank you if you've come again. That's a few. That's great. My name is Claire Dunham. I'm known as the Queen of Calm, and I share something known as the 3 principles, which is an understanding of how the mind works, a really simple understanding. There should be a new track live very soon, which just is called, I think it's called What Are the 3 Principles and Why Are They Helpful, or something along those lines. And that is that should be really helpful if you're new to the 3 principles. What I say to people about 3 principles is it's life-changing. It's just an understanding. Good morning, Priscilla. It's just an understanding of how the mind works. It's no tools, no techniques, nothing to do really. Just a bit of listening and learning. And if you enjoy listening to me, then please do connect with me, follow me, and listen to more of this content that I provide. But either way, find a teacher, 3 principles teacher that you love, because I think I love all the 3 principles teachers, actually, if I'm honest. I don't think I've ever come across one that I don't like. But I like listening to some more than others. I get really engrossed in some podcasts and some teachers, how they say things I really like. So, do find your... do find a teacher and learn about the 3 principles, because it's definitely the most life-changing thing that I've ever come across, and it's changed. There's not one aspect of my life that it hasn't touched and changed, so I really do recommend finding out more about it. If you are new here, please hop over to my profile and follow me if you want to find out more about what I'm doing. I have a couple of courses now on Insight Timer. I've got Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease, which was my first course, and I've just last week released another course, Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Principles. Maybe that was the week before last. Anyway, I lose track of time. We've got more events coming up this week. So we've got tomorrow at 3:50 p.m. These are all BST times because I'm in the UK. End Self-Sabotage and Uncover the Innate Potential for Success. The 8th, which is Thursday at 8:05 a.m. Accessing Effortless Flow and Creative Potential. And then on Friday at 12:45 p.m, The Power of Presence, Revealing Potential in the Now. So there's all different times to hopefully suit people's schedules. I am starting to screen record these and put them onto a YouTube playlist. If you go to the link in my bio, then you can see the playlist there. And there's all sorts of other things there that you can connect with me. You can book free sessions. You can access my little freebie and also there's all sorts on that link. So please do have a look at that link. It's a new link and it's now live on the phone and the computer. So, Peace, a question. How do we... before I go on, I must say, if you find this helpful and you are able to make a donation, Insight Timer and I are always really grateful. So I do say that a couple of times during the session. So how do we hold ourselves kindly when we feel overwhelmed by the unknown, in the past struggle with making decisions? Okay, so I'm just going to cover how do we hold ourselves kindly, Peace, because feeling overwhelmed sometimes, struggling with things, making decisions, they're all you judging yourself as not being okay. And all of those things you're saying is what happens to everybody at some point. Feeling overwhelmed by the unknown, making decisions quickly. I have a daughter who can't choose food. Bless her. She's how old is she? She's 23. And I used to just be so impatient with her, bless her. And I'm not now. I just think, well, she's just not. She'll decide when she's ready and leave us to it. And eventually comes up with what she wants to eat. But Summer Star, welcome. No meditation, it's a talk, Summer Star, but welcome back. I've seen you before on here, I think. But like, it's back to the ruler piece when it comes to being horrible to ourselves. Does this hurt? Well, yes, so stop doing it. So, not stop doing it, but as you go through time, as you stay in this conversation, hurting yourself with your horrible thinking about yourself will just stop making sense. Gradually, it will stop making sense. Just like when you let me know that I'm hitting myself with a ruler and giving myself a headache, I'm going to stop doing that. Now that's easier because it's out here and it's visible. And if I say I've got a headache, I can quickly see that where my... Don't worry, I'm not hitting myself too hard, peace. I can see where the headache's coming from. Now it's a bit different with our thinking, isn't it? Because it's very convincing. Have you noticed? It's like it's had some training in persuasion techniques or something. Like, that's just made me laugh, because isn't it like that? Like, it's so persuasive, isn't it, our thinking? It looks real, it's been around a long time. I was saying, I think it was yesterday I was saying, that I really didn't think I had thinking. Like, I was saying this to her. I spoke to a lovely young lady yesterday who I hope is going to become a client. And I was saying to her, if you're doing a recipe, you've got to follow the instructions, haven't you? The instructions say, right, you've got to have all the ingredients, get the equipment out, and then you've got to go 1, 2. If you kind of mix up the instructions in a cake, you're just going to get a mess. You're not going to get a cake. So you get the instructions. Now, I used to think that all this in here was just the instructions for life. So I just kind of did what it told me to do. I didn't question it very much. I didn't even realise it was anything other than just instructions being relayed to me in this space. And I can't believe how... And then I probably went through a phase of kind of knowing there was thinking, but not quite seeing it how I do now. Like, I just know it's not me now. We are not our psychology. If we were, we would have the same thinking all the time. Like, there's nothing permanent about thought, is there? But it is very persuasive, because it's not like if we grew up with this wonderful, clean, happy mind for ages, and then suddenly at 13, somebody like slit open our head and whacked our thinking and went, there you go, we'd kind of go, whoa, hang on a minute, that wasn't there before. What's all that? Where's it come from? But that isn't how it happens. It's a drip, drip. Like, right from birth, probably even before that, who knows when it all starts. Let's say conception for, this purpose of this conversation. Drip, 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 drip. Bits of information, bits of misunderstanding, bits of rude things people said to us, bits of shouting from our parents, bits of, falling and hurting ourselves, and bits of speaking in front of people and getting laughed at, and bits of their stuff. Just tick, drip, 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 drip. So we're growing up with this voice in our heads that we've no idea isn't the truth. But our system is trying to tell us all the time, and it tells us by making us feel terrible. Anxious thinking creates an anxious feeling. So that's to let us know it's just our system going, hey, do you want to just stop doing that? Because you're hurting yourself. Trouble is, we don't, because we've grown up in an outside-in world, and where the outside-in world says, oh, it's all out there, making you feel terrible. We keep looking out there for the solution, but actually, the solution is to stop it. Like, has everybody seen the video? Hi, Emma. Welcome. Has anybody seen the video? Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to find it and pop it and try and bring it up next time. But there's a video. It's called, basically, a woman goes into a therapist. It's got a famous, if you've watched Big Bang Theory, the guy who plays the scientist that Sheldon really likes, the older guy, he's in it. Don't know what that comedian's called, he's an American comedian. Anyway, in this scene, the woman goes into the therapist's office, and he's offering $5 therapy, which I suspect is not the going rate for therapy these days in America or anywhere else for that matter. He's offering this $5 therapy, and she sits down. She starts telling him about how she keeps imagining being buried alive. That's her thing. She keeps thinking about being buried alive. She feels terrible because she's been buried alive over and over. She keeps imagining being buried alive. She's never been buried alive. So he said to her, have you been buried alive? No. So she's just awful. I keep thinking about it all the time. And I feel awful because I'm thinking about being buried alive. And he just says, he says, do you want to give me the $5 now and I'll give you the therapy? And she's like, she eyes lit up because it's like $5 and all the other therapy. And he just says, stop it. Like really, he says it he shouts. I'm not going to shout at you, but that's what he goes. He goes, stop it. Just stop it. And she's like, what do you mean? Well, just stop it. Stop thinking about being buried in a hole underground. Just stop it. And that's like a bit more on the surface, isn't it? Because that's like, well, this woman doesn't see that it's her thinking. But if she stopped thinking that thought, she would not feel any of those feelings anymore. Quite simple. Now, in this conversation, that's what I'm guiding you to see. That you stop the thinking and the feelings go away. And then this capacity for infinite potential opens up, because that's really your natural state. Your thinking is not you, it's your psychology. It's what passes through you. It's what you learnt when you were small. It isn't your true potential, what you truly are able to be, to do, to have. It's none of that. That's not who you really are. So, and when we're, the big part of this session is talking about embracing the unknown, but as we've already said, there is no unknown. There's just our thinking about the future. Feels terrible. Don't engage with the thinking about the future which feels terrible, and you will step into that realm of possibility. Like I feel just excited about the future now. Like, what's each day going to bring? What might I see? Who might I speak to? What might happen? It's just so nice. It's so exciting. We go off in our, if you've just arrived here, hello. Got a few more people who've just come in, which is lovely. Please do say hello in the comments. And if you've missed quite a bit of this and you're thinking, oh, I wish I'd heard this, it sounds interesting. Well, I hope you're thinking that. If you're not, it's fine. I will be screening. Hi, Jenny. I will be screening. Hello, Shannon, and hello, Linda from New York. Some early risers. I will be screen grabbing it and putting it on. There's a list on the link in my bio. So you go to the link in my bio. There's a YouTube playlist now where I'm starting to gradually add these videos, and I'll use exactly the same title that I've used on Insight Timer. So you should be able to find them quite easily. Hello, Susan. Good morning from Florida. So if you have missed it, if you've missed it, please do go and follow me, because you will see other content pointing in exactly the same direction. I've got lots of audios, lots of free audios, just starting to put some premium audios in. I've got a couple of courses, Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease and Revealing Your Potential with the 3 Principles, both of which are on my profile. There's also a link on there, as I say, with everything you might need to know about me. You can find out more there and connect with me wherever on the social media or things like that. And also there's an opportunity there to connect with me and find out a little bit more through a freebie and a free hour of coaching. And thank you so much for being here today. We are drawing to a close now because I've nearly been here an hour. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for people who make donations on a regular basis. As I've already said, Insight Timer and I are always grateful for donations. If you found this helpful and you are able to make a donation, that would be absolutely wonderful. But if not, that's fine too. This space of Insight Timer is the place that I'm hanging around more and more of the time, actually, and finding finding my own. I know my piece isn't on Insight Timer, it's inside me, but I like being here. It's my preference to be here rather than other places quite so much. I do still hang out in other places, but this is my favourite place. So just before I go, I'll just tell you what I've got on. I have it in front of me on my phone. What I've got on the rest of the week. So tomorrow at 3:50 p.m, that's the 7th. Wednesday again. Wednesday already tomorrow. End self-sabotage. I'll try saying that again. End self-sabotage and uncover the innate potential for success. The 8th, which is Thursday. Accessing effortless flow and creative potential. That's at 8:05 a.m. These are all BST times, so I hope you've got a means to convert that, because I can't do that fast. And then the 9th of June, 12:45 p.m. The Power of Presence, revealing potential in the now. So the theme this month is revealing potential. I think the theme, if it seems to be a preference, the theme next month is going to be productivity. So overcoming procrastination, motivation, those kind of things, but completely from a 3 principles perspective. And there will be a course to go with that. That's the aim each month. There's a theme. The sessions are on a theme. The course is on a theme. It's all about helping you around that particular theme. Don't forget to go and follow me. Click on the link in my bio. See what's going on there. And I hope to meet some of you, actually. Maybe not live, because I'm not actually coming to New York or all the other places. But if you are ever in Leeds, please do give me a nudge and we'll have a cuppa. But also, Zoom is always available if people want to have an actual conversation. So lots of love. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will see you again tomorrow if you can be here. So lots of love.